Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this very special episode of The Reckoning. It's very special because I said so. So many of you will probably remember a video I featured a couple of weeks ago of an employee who recorded a woman he was supposed to be helping crying hysterically to 911 that this guy was threatening her, that she was in danger and scared. All the while, he was recording himself calmly standing 20 feet away from her at least, while she was shaking and quivering and screaming and crying, and he's just sitting there shaking his head at the absurdity of it all. It appeared clear from the video that this woman was doing what traditional Karens are known to do, namely misrepresent the situation to emergency services by obfuscating or, like in this case, outright fabricating the events that led up to this call. The guy who recorded this freakout actually has given us a ton of update information since this meltdown occurred, and I am here to bring you all the tea. But first, as always, let's review the initial footage.
She is on the phone with 911 right now.
She said I'm rude and he's just threatening me right now.
Look at her. She said I just threatened her. What threat did I make towards you?
I'm Elizabeth.
What threat did I make towards you, ma'am? Huh? This is crazy. I've never... I already knew what it was when I first got here, though.
He or she is 1 minute later trying to sound distressed so the police can come quicker.
What? What in the world is this, boy? I ain't gonna lie. I've never in my life had to deal with no bull like this. Never in my life.
So it seems very obvious right away that this woman was blatantly pretending to panic in order to elicit a more dramatic law enforcement response, which is really pretty creepy when you realize that she was willing to put on an act like this just on the off chance that she could get this poor guy into serious trouble and potentially put him in danger of a bunch of armed police that misread the situation, showing up ready to deal with some violent maniac. As it turns out, this guy is just an HVAC technician who was contracted out to help this lady. Looking through his TikTok profile, actually, he seems like a pretty solid, good-humored, and rational dude. He says he showed up to the home and gets to work, her being the only one there, and he even expresses his awareness that she's home alone, and he fully understands the need to be extra cautious and respectful in order to make the customer feel more comfortable in that situation. He says he picked up a bad energy as he was explaining what he needed to do to her house, like, you know, with taking pictures of the furnace and cleaning everything. When he asked to see her basement utility room so he could clean and inspect the furnace, his last thing on his agenda of things he had to do, she became weirder and weirder, asking him why they let him do a job like this. She continued to press him by, get this, insisting the photos he took of her furnace weren't actually from her furnace. She threatened to call her husband and started to cause a scene, started cutting him off until he informed her that he wouldn't be going forward with the cleaning, at which point she started raising her voice and threatening to call the police. Here's everything that he said he experienced actually in his own words.
How y'all doing? I just want to start off by saying thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for the love and support. Appreciate everybody for reaching out to me. I am okay. I've been getting a lot of comments on my last video, similar to this one, asking about my well-being. I am unharmed. Basically, I'm going to just give y'all a little update about what happened that day. So basically, I'm an HVAC technician. I'm contracted out daily to go to different people's homes. I clean air ducts, I clean furnaces, air conditioning units, dryer vents, good stuff like that around your homes. That day, I was contracted to go out to her home by her and her husband. They wanted their air ducts cleaned. So right off bat, I pull up to the home, I grab a few pieces of equipment out my van, then I eventually enter the home. As soon as I enter the home, the woman is standing by the door. She greets me at the door. She doesn't tell me her name or anything. I introduce myself. I let her know what I'm there for. If she could show me certain parts of the home that I'll need to know about in order to do my job. So she was the only one there. Her husband was at work, so automatically knew to be as gentle as possible. I am a stranger coming into your home at the end of the day. You're by yourself, so I already knew how to approach the scene with her. As I'm talking to her for the first time, I'm already picking up a bad energy from her. She's giving me a bland stare as I'm explaining to her the things that I'll need to do around the home and the things that I'll need to access. She would periodically cut me off as I was trying to explain certain things to her. So I eventually asked her to see her utility room. That's where I would end the cleaning by cleaning her furnace. She kind of turned towards me and looked like, why do I need to show you that room? Like, why do you need to go down there? That's when I then explained to her, I would end the cleaning there. So she kind of slowly walked down. That's when she, showed me where the room was in the basement. So as soon as she shows me the utility room, I instantly start my work to inspect the furnace. I take the furnace door off, I pull my phone out, start taking inspection photos just to show her, make sure nothing needs an extra cleaning in the furnace, make sure everything is working properly. So as I'm about to begin my work in the utility room, she's literally right over my shoulder. She's not leaving my side. She's watching everything that I'm doing. She then asks me, they let me do a job like this? And that's when I kind of turned towards her, like, what does that mean? Like, I'm confused on what you're asking me. So I kind of giggled that off. I'm there to make the money. I'm really not trying to talk to you. So it was an awkward silence at that moment because I already kind of could pick up what type of time she was on. So I was just trying to do my job and get out of there. So I'm trying to continue to take these photos. I can hear her over my shoulder. She's going in and out of her foreign language and English. Her English side, I kept hearing, how long have I been doing the job? Do I know what I'm doing? Stuff like that. I'm going to continue the story in part 3.
So I'm sure you see what I mean. This guy seems like a normal, level-headed, professional person, which just reinforces my initial feeling that I had that this woman was overreacting to an extreme in a very abnormal, very creepy kind of way. I can't shake the creepiness of this. Like the fact that she was so willing to put this guy in potentially serious danger, making this crazy panicked scene like she was being actively attacked. Like these police could have shown up if they hadn't been smart enough to realize, oh wow, it's another one of those. If they hadn't noticed that and they had shown up with, 6 people in SWAT gear and full, semi-autos and everything, it would have been a different outcome. Luckily, it sounds like the police were smart enough from his recounting in the next one where he talks about the police encounter that he had. It sounds like they were smart enough to know she's one of those. So, luckily everything worked out good here, but it could have not. And that creeps me out. That part of it creeps me out. Anyway, this is the next explanation video he posted about a day after this one.
So as she's asking me these questions, I am answering them. I'm being professional, being polite as possible. Basically let her know that, yes, I am a trained professional. I know what I'm doing here. I then go to flick her through the photos that I just took in her furnace. That's when she looks at me and she then claims that the photos that I was showing her weren't photos of her home. So as she said this, I kind of stopped and I'm looking at the photos like I'm confused on what you mean. I literally just took these photos. You're watching me take the photos, But hey, me being the professional that I am, I go down and I retake the same photos so she can see me take the photos, clearly take them in her furnace, and show her those photos again. She then goes on a little rant, basically saying she doesn't trust me. She doesn't think that I'm going to do a good job in her home, and that she was going to call her husband. Now, once she said this, I was already at the edge of I'm not going to do the cleaning in her home because she was basically labeling herself as a problematic customer. Didn't want to create another problem by doing the cleaning and she call in later about something just to try to get a refund or even get me fired. So at this point, she's not letting me talk. She's basically trying to talk over me, cutting me off every time. So at that point, you're being problematic. So I let her know I'm not going to do the cleaning there. I'm going to give my office a call. They should be contacting you and you guys can go from there. But as for now, I'm going to pack all my equipment and I'm going to leave. So as I'm packing my equipment, I start making my way upstairs to leave her home. She's following right behind me, literally on my back, basically on the back of my heels. She's so close to me. Threatening to call her husband, yelling at me, saying all sorts of things. As I'm walking through the garage, I hear her yell that she's gonna call the police. Now, I know if someone calls the police on you and you leave the scene before they arrive, that's basically you fleeing the crime scene. So I let her know, if you call the police, then I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna wait for them. I then start to record. So after the recording, I was just in shock. Like, I didn't know what just happened. I was literally standing outside in a blizzard. So I got in my van, watching my surroundings, waiting on the police to show up. I didn't know what type of police unit was going to show up just by how she was acting on the phone, making it seem like I was causing harm to her or something. So I was honestly scared. So luckily, it was only 2 officers that showed up. They came to defuse the situation, basically asked me to leave the premises. They did take down some information. Before I was about to leave, the officer that went up to her and got her side of the story actually came up to me on her behalf to see if I was willing to stay and do the cleaning, but I simply declined. This also happened in Golden Valley, Minnesota. So I stay in Minnesota, and that's where this incident took place. So that's what happened. I do want to thank you guys once again. Appreciate the love and support that you guys have been showing me. This will not be the last that you guys will see of me. Let's end racism together. Peace.
I've waited a few days since this last video was posted just to make sure that he was done posting about this particular incident. He has gone back to his typical comedic sketch kind of stuff on TikTok. So I think he's done talking about this. He did a live stream too. I contemplated putting in parts of that as well, but it just didn't seem like it added enough to the initial story to be worth it. So, you know, when a story is told, the story is told. I think it's pretty clear that this guy was in the right in this situation, and this woman was acting wacky, totally out of control, very irresponsible in the way that she was pretending to be in danger. You know, Frank, a lot of people have said that it should be illegal to act like that, to pretend that you're in immediate danger because you happen to be in some kind of petty dispute with whoever you're calling the cops on or 911 on. You know, I see the merits of such a concept. Maybe just because I've watched so many people do this exact thing, right? Where they call the police on somebody who is not really doing anything that is a police-worthy offense. Anyway, this guy seems fine to me. Yeah, so that's the story. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. If there are any updates to what happens to this lady, if she gets in any kind of legal trouble for this, I will be sure to let you know. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.